So first up, we're going to be checking out why aren't more people talking about Limbus Company? A perfectly valid question by KwestaShul or Shul. One, I'm so sorry. I will butcher your name. I'm terrible at them. That is going to happen. I mispronounce my own name sometimes. Yeah. If it was wondering why I'm watching another Limbus Company video, I'm not addicted. I am completely and utterly addicted. Just being addicted is not the word. I am hyper addicted. It is literally nonstop. I've been just pressing the buttons to auto the dungeon in the background so often to just no life it. I have no excuse. So we're going to indulge my addiction and watch more Limbus Company related content because I'm fine. I don't need a fix. This is fine. This is fine. I like this. You got any more of that their Limbus Company? For anyone who gets that reference, you're welcome.
Limbus Company.
I'm jealous of the voice already.
Than a well-beloved, because... wait. Do you hear that? It sounds...
Oh god, he's looping freaking Don Quixote shouting in the background.
Sounds like... Oh god. I haven't even started the video yet!
관리자. 나리!
Where the fuck did they get Faust's VA to do a happy voice? I don't even know the context, but that's kind of awesome. The problem with
I've
Limbus
only recently
Company,
been indoctrinated into the cult of Project Moon,
I know the feeling.
thanks to a little game known as Limbus Company, that has since extended to Library of Rowena and as much of Lobotomy Corporation as my mental can handle, because...
So, none. That usually seems like the safe move with that game.
What the fuck even is going on at this point? For the last 6 or so months, it's no exaggeration to say that I've fallen in love with these games.
Oh, we've probably started. He just was a little ahead of me. Also, yeah, prologue. And Zero, I should try watching gacha games that are terrible. Here's why you should play them. That is a very unique title. I'm actually curious.
Well, the story, the characters, and the overall feeling of having a gacha game elicit actual emotion out of me. Something...
Yeah. The actual emotion elicited out of me was, oh god, what the fuck? For anyone who hasn't seen it, they have updated the game to be an accurate representation of all the trigger warnings you should have at the beginning of the game. They put it at 12-point font and then filled the screen. If you stop to read it, you will have a panic attack.
Other gacha games could only wish they could do.
Oh, that's not fair. I feel plenty of emotions when playing Hoyo games like Genshin. A lot of them are disappointment in myself, but that's an emotion.
The world is lived in, dark, sick, and bereft of human righteousness. The characters are their own, capable of growth that persists and never truly feel cast to the wayside. The main character is not overtly a self-insert, experiences their own growth, and has their own massive flaws that matter, and is...
Honestly, the self-insert thing's actually really important because it's a very big dividing line. Most games where you have a character, even if they're a character in universe, they're not actually a character in universe. There are so many times where you get the faceless protagonist who you have to jump into the gacha game on, or Elden Ring it, which is also one of the reasons when they made a manga of it, they made an absolute and complete comedy, and it worked. But the Doctor, sorry, I'm thinking Arknights for that one, is a character. You think he's a faceless protagonist until you realize, oh no, he has a backstory and he's horrible. And Dante, I mean, this is the city. It's probably going to be exactly what I just said. He's not a faceless protagonist. He's a headless protagonist. There's a huge difference.
Isn't treated as a hyper-competent do-it-all that everyone revolves around. I like how I'm not treated as though I'm an imbecile needing to understand bosses or get a grasp on unit kit synergies. I
mean, they wouldn't be wrong to treat me as an imbecile, but that's completely beside the point.
The team building, I like the constant curiosity, the dialogue.
Purple tier Limbus confirmed. You know, I see why people are obsessed with this character. That's, she has very unique art.
Breeds. I like how the universe's concepts are easy to understand and not bogged down by a bad case of nounitis. But most of all,
I mean, technically there is a ton of nouns, but you only really need to know them when they're trying to kill you.
Like how the gacha game doesn't really feel like a gacha game.
Right? Ooh, I got
Yet,
that guy.
Between all those thoughts, I can't help but wonder why more people aren't talking about Limbus Company.
It's probably that so many people are looking right now at the high budget 3D open world or semi-open world experiences, that something that's gone back to form of being more a tactical turn-based game. Star Rail did it, but even has an open world. Although I'll be completely honest, if they ever made an open world version of the city, one, how do you do that Not in the sense of, oh, how do you build a world, but how do you do that without tripping all of the, oh my God, we cannot show this type moments? Because there's times where a still image, you can curate it. But if you have to have all of that fuckery out there, you get age-gated so fast.
Project Moon is a relatively small indie game company based in South Korea, consisting of around 50 employees.
Wait, they're only from 2016. Holy. Plus 5 to 7 working at their residence. They have a themed restaurant. Oh, yeah. That's why they mentioned that I think it's a chicken place every now and again, including in the intermission. Huh.
The repertoire consists of Hell on Earth, Peak Cinema, and the worst of the three, apparently. It's not hard to get the idea.
The worst of the three? Honestly, from what I've heard, Library is still the best. But also, I would not say Lobotomy Corporation is the best regardless, just because I think even though the characterization's there, it's not nearly as easy to penetrate. When you actually find it, or you find someone who can do a lore video of it, it's amazing. But just the rest of the game is more of a, you're here to suffer and see if you can make it through. This is a rage game that happens to have a good story. Also, Zero, Persona got a gacha game on Steam. It does not feel like a gacha. I've heard they had a gacha. I didn't realize it was out already. Huh.
Idea that they really came from nothing, as it were, with Lobotomy Corporation looking like it had the budget of 5 cents and a bowl of lint, which was...
And I got distracted by Limbus Company and immediately spilled the coffee. Lovely. Yeah, that's fine. I didn't need that shirt.
It's kind of the case because it was originally a failed Kickstarter game. Lobotomy Corp was marketed as an SCP-inspired monster management simulator, garnering around 3...
Holy shit, I think I saw this pledge. Sorry, it's been so many years. I think I actually remember seeing this. I didn't sponsor it because, I mean, if I don't have disposable income, then I definitely didn't have it. Yeah. They only wanted $40,000 for it? Talk about a decade's difference.
$3,300 of the initially proposed $40,000 goal with its small demo. And for most people, well, that'd be that. No funding means no development, which should have meant no game. But my cute CEO, Kim Ji-hoon, said no.
Oh, I forgot he actually has that face. Like, that character is his, yeah. Honestly, like, sometimes even when you succeed, people get screwed over by not actually doing things. So they failed and then still made the game.
No, I don't think that's the case, and ended up tirelessly working with the feedback given to them, incorporating the limitations put forward by the game engine and lacking art assets into the story itself. So there was incorporating the limitations put forward by the game engine and lacking art assets, working with the feedback given to them, incorporating the limitations put forward.
Okay, one. Damn. Angela was hot. Still was later. But this does feel... It feels like Limbus Company is what Lobotomy Corporation's art was meant to be.
By the game engine and lacking art assets into the story itself, so there was at least a reason for it. What the game lacked in visual interface ingenuity, they made up for with gameplay and story ingenuity.
And honestly, they can't downplay just how much stylization does feed into that. God damn, though, that was a very different Angela. Although the more human toned skin is actually odd, because I thought initially the incredible bland whiteness was off.
Ji-hoon and his buddies from the anime club would make this game Kickstarter be damned. Make it a steaming pile of dog shit. Because for all the violent midnights and low-key softlock abdominal...
Requires people to die. Breaches if people die. Lovely.
Combinations you can unfortunately stumble upon, Lobotomy Corporation was a wonderfully thought-out game that introduces the beloved concepts of the PM-verse and spurred on the creation of Project Moon's other more well-crafted titles.
I don't even know where this part is from, but they all look way too happy. This is unnatural.
It's like the setting of the city, a complete dystopia lacking in humanity, or perhaps is poisoned by it. After all, only those deemed human may preside within its walls. It's like Disneyland for psychopaths, and sociopaths, and empaths, capitalists, nihilists, cowboys, and fucking clowns. One hell of a...
Clowns? Of course there's clowns. Of course there's clowns. Why would I be surprised there's clowns?
place to take up the art of comedy. But Lobotomy Corporation plants the seed, pun intended, that even in a place as utterly wretched as this, hope can be just around the corner, grown within the very people that seem so clearly woeful. And goddamn did that game sell. The tagline of an SCP...
Wait, Jacksepticeye played this? Oh god, it's the green hair era. He would probably rage out. What was that tagline?
People that seem so clearly woeful. And goddamn did that...
1 million copies. Not Ruina or Runia. You're welcome. But 1 million copies of Lobotomy Corporation. Damn.
Game sell. The tagline of an SCP management game really worked wonders, turning some pretty large heads around. And I can't even really name another game that has that same premise. Does My Singing Monsters count? Also, don't play the game unless you hate yourself. It's like 150 hours of pure unadulterated pain. The direct sequel to Lobotomy Corporation, Library of Rowena, was an excuse to develop the strongest part of the previous title, the world itself. It very much helps that the main dude
I'm assuming this is a fan edit? Yeah, it's a fan edit, but damn.
Or a clueless sentient robot who wishes to learn more about the city, and a denizen of the city who knows its ins and outs perhaps a little too intimately. Its gameplay loop, a deck-building, turn-based RPG system with some RNG sprinkled in, allowed for a multifaceted experience many people loved.
Wait, what did that say? No what? No key page? That's crazy. Fire, 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 murder, fire, 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 murder. Okay, I'm assuming they're going to murder someone.
Yeah. Loved so much they made it the monetization model of their next game, but we'll get to that. Library of Rowena wasn't as popular as Lobotomy Corporation despite it being a
What? Library was less popular. No. How? All I can look at this is it probably didn't have the tagline of SCP, which is what brought people in initially to Lobotomy Corporation. And because the tag of this is a rage game probably got around to make people play it more. I'm wondering if the time played actually is longer on Library than Lobotomy, just because a lot of rage players go for the rage and the rest is not really their thing. I don't know, but it just, that feels so, it's not even copies. It's less than half. Sorry, this just does not make sense to me. This does not make sense.
Step up for the company. That's not to say it didn't do well. It did.
Hey, what did he say? There's a little thing he had there.
Operation, despite it being a...
Take these values with a grain of salt. Both are equally wrong, and they're equally right.
Massive step up for the company.
So what did he just put in there? Damn, bro. Edit your own breaths. Can you imagine editing breaths? No.
That's not to say it didn't do well, it did. Simply the premise wasn't as immediately interesting as something so clearly as inspired as its predecessor. People who played the game more than likely came from Lobotomy Corp wanting to learn more about the universe and the characters. Also the music, Jesus, don't get me started. From the floor themes to any Millie song, I'm sure you've heard something from this game before without...
Yeah, no, honestly, I've been mainstreaming everything about Gabura's theme constantly. It's unironically a problem at this point. My wife is probably going to say something along the lines of, stop. And I will be justified.
Realizing it, this 2 for 2 record when it came to games would soon become 3 for 3 with the release of Limbus Company in 2023. Okay, maybe not immediately. The game had very obvious problems from the get-go, most notably of which was the fact that it was gotcha. Ugh, the word causes a deep stirring in my loins.
Stop calling me when you talk right now. Pick up. You're not being fair at all. I have my boundaries. You're not respecting them. This is absolutely says. But you always spent $600 on our credit card on a fucking game. I explained already. $600 for 2 virtual characters you don't need without asking when you are paycheck to paycheck. The card was emergency specific. Oh. I'm bad sometimes, and I have spent that there, but that was not for just a random character. Actually, no, never mind. It was out for multiple characters for multiple months. I put a hard limit on how much I spent, and this is... yeah, no.
Listen, not the good kind. If you've been paying attention, you'll have noticed that Project Moon was known for its story-driven single-player games. Not gotcha. There is a difference. When the fact...
Oh god, the Tectone stream where he actually freaked out. And apparently, like, his blood pressure got so high that's part of why he has to stop streaming now. Or not streaming, like, stop shouting because it actually became a problem health-wise. Oh god. Can you remember when Star Rail didn't make you feel like they were trying to excuse the fact that no one there actually knows how to write anymore. That one still hurts.
Factorial slop of gacha is so prevalent with its countless little practices made to waste both your time and your money.
I recognize that game. That game is basically the female Gunnar game. I have learned just enough about it to realize it is a level of that I was not expecting to be literally available to anyone. It makes things like Nikke look tame.
Caution the fanbase had towards Project Moon's new game was warranted, but it was all ultimately for naught, because this game managed to take the things that made all the previous games so good and packaged it into a simple enough format to be enjoyed by the casual audience that preside within this precarious genre.
I'm a casual.
And if you play the game for longer than an hour, you realize very quickly that Project Moon loves you. Yes, you heard me. Kim Ji-hoon specifically thanks you for playing Limbus Company.
I think it's less that they love you and more that they're trying to keep you invested long enough that they can absolutely make it hurt. It's like, if someone leaves, they stop the suffering. But if we can make them stay, then we can take their heart and crush it. Just shave off a little bit. Just a little bit here and there. Maybe just a little more scratches there, a little scratch there, a little gouge there, a little bite there, a little evisceration everywhere. Yeah. The game very much feels like that already. Damn, does it.
Glory be to Limbus Company, glory be to Project Moon, and in the words of our...
Is that just a tiny little... Oh, yeah, they're all just saluting, and then... Oh, they just have Charon in the back going, nope. Raquel, you mentioned, Nikke is still the more of an average Gunnar game. Deep Space is just average smut. I wouldn't say average. Some of it is so... There's a line, man. They found it.
A cute CEO himself, may he attain wealth and fame almighty. And if you can't tell, that's at least how it feels to be part of the community of this game at times.
Oh, yeah.
We want it to succeed, we want people to play it.
The worst part is, I'm trying to think, oh, this looks awesome. Like, oh, wait, it might be spoilers. I can't look at it. The moment where the awesome stuff I want to see is also awesome stuff I can't see yet.
And we want it to get even bigger and even better with every update that cycles through.
Can
it be predatory? Sure. Is it overtly predatory?
I mean, just to put it up there, most games aren't this obvious for how many pulls you get for actual money. This is a lot of money. You don't need to spend any of this at all. None of it. You don't need any of this. What you need is the pass to do basic daily things, and you're done. That's it. It's like $15. If you can't afford that, just play the game more and you can make up for it, but it's like a third slower, or 2/3. Zero Nova, my opinion on the new horse girl gotcha. Honestly, I've never really been into that for entire genre, so I can't really say. I've heard people like it. It doesn't look like it's for me, though.
No, I would say not at all. In fact, I would go so far as to say that despite Project Moon's motto being this big, bold, almost laughably authentic view of the CEO's vision, they
Wait, that was an actual quote for him? The company's motto is wealth and honor, based on two things Kim Jae-hoon's aspired to obtain. The company's main Twitter is Project Moon Studio, though they have separate accounts for Limbus Company and Ham Ham Pang Pang, which was their actual company, literal sandwich or chicken place. Yeah. I actually want to check that out someday, damn it. How much? Is it actually still a restaurant or has it become a tourist place for Limbus? I don't actually think there's a way to do it either way. Oh no.
They really don't know how to make money. And the times where they do try to drain your wallets, they outright say it. For the anime, for the 3D action RPG, I give my wallet unto you, my cute CEO. Power creep? Yeah, sure. But the unit is...
I mean, to be fair, she was so power creep, they actually nerfed the person who broke her. Although in terms of damage, apparently you could literally hit max. As in, with how things work, she has rupture stacks, and she maxed them on turn 1 with another character's interaction. So it wasn't that she did the most damage, it's that now she's a very powerful character, maybe the most, or up there. As before, where it was, the scale is so broken, it doesn't matter, you're going to die. Or the enemy will die, and that's that. So, yeah, it kind of needed it.
so easy to get, whether by the decent rates or simply by farming the repeatable roguelike mode mirror dungeons, that you're able to basically get any character you want in the game for free. No RNG-reliant time-gated artifact system, no small...
I hate the artifact system so much.
Smorgasbord mishmash of collectibles, no going to pity every single time.
I mean, I will admit, the collectibles don't bother me that much. The random stats you can't adjust. I don't mind random stats. I wish you could easily change them. Like, just, like, fight a boss, change it. Get rid of it, stats. Just, there's so many issues that this game does avoid altogether.
And a story that is good. Amazing. In fact. Absolute.
You know what? I have a distinct impression this guy might really love Otis. There's probably one person there who just had a complete conniption for me saying that. You're welcome.
Goddamn cinema. And this is why I made the distinction between a gacha game and a single-player game. Because while many bigger gacha games can suffer from character irrelevance, convoluted nouns you need to remember, bloated dialogue, and in-your-face unit shilling, Limbus Company draws from its roots as a narrative-driven experience and provides you simply with an excellent story-based game. There are levels to this, right? To combat character irrelevance, the main cast consists of 12 sinners, including the main character, their guide, Virgilius, and his weird monochrome adopted daughter, Charon. I think she's autistic. Also, she drives the Limbus and is my favorite character.
I mean, he has good taste. She is the best character.
You pull for versions of these characters from alternate universes, and each sinner remains a mainstay in every...
I'm sorry. Is Airier in a detective outfit with a fake mustache? Oh my god, I don't even know the context. I could tell it's T-Corp because of the monochrome, but just the fake mustache, that's just... Oh, that's amazing.
Bit of story that you get. When it comes to Nounitis, which, if you aren't familiar, is a common problem in original fictional worlds.
Is that Worm?
That you get. When it comes to Nounitis, which, if you aren't familiar, is a...
Yep, that's Worm. I'll be honest, I like what came of this. But you could tell this was written fast because there's a lot of bloat in the initial chapter initially. To start with, even.
Common problem in original fictional worlds, normally diagnosed in Harry Potter notebooks of overzealous...
Although, to give Worm credit, the guy wrote like 4 chapters a week, every week for years. At minimums, because he was being paid by the chapter based on fans paying him. So, just having a little bloat is actually absurd. Legitimately, his output makes Stephen King blush.
15-year-olds who think making fake words that sound cool equals good world building.
I mean, technically, it worked for Shakespeare. That's not a joke. A significant proportion of the English language is actually just based on nonsense he wrote and pretended were words, and other people believed, oh, he probably knows what he's talking about, started using them. This is not a joke. That's the thing.
No, I'm not talking from personal experience. Seriously, I was always more of an Undertale kid. In fact, to prove this, let me give you a rundown of the setting in under a minute. No. People live in the city. Non-people live outside in the outskirts. Districts compose the city, which are all named after a letter. Each district contains a nest, which is the city proper, and the back streets, which are the slums. Each nest has a wing, which is a mega corporation that supports the city as a whole with its unique technology called a singularity. The leading body of the city is known as the head, which is comprised of districts A, B, and C, no relation. Nobody really knows anything about them. You're not supposed to. People can hire certain others to fix their problems.
Wait. Fixers. Headman for all occasions. Oversaturated Marnet. This world's ninjas, pirates, hunters, etc. Purple tier. Red mist. Missing. The strongest. Singularity infused? Are graded. Can join.
Called fixers. Fixers can be part of offices which are individually owned businesses or associations which are...
Wait, why is Can join the Dawn office? Small groups, 3 to 10. Dime a dozen. Widely varying in strength. What's the difference between office and association? Probably something I just would pick up as obvious.
Massive scale companies in their own right, of which there are 12, all named after a number. Fixers themselves are also graded by numbers, going from
grade 1 chads, grade 9 chumps. I mean, look at that rolling guy. I mean, can you imagine him being strong? I haven't played the game, but even I realize there's probably a thing there.
9 to grade 1, with only the most legendary fixes being awarded a color, of which there can only be one per color at any given time. Also, abnormalities are monsters extracted from the mind, which were invented by L-Corp. Distortions are people who turn into monsters because of their feelings, which was also L-Corp's fault, with ego being the result of preventing your own distortion through sheer force of will. There's also another type extracted from abnormalities, taking on their properties instead of being unique to you. These concepts are all kind of linked. And time! How'd I do? I rolled that not knowing how long it'd take to say it all, so that's pretty good.
You know, that does kind of cover most of the very basic nouns in the game of what you need to know. I think it's better handled in the game because they actually take a lot longer to explain it, which, personal opinion, if you're trying to explain everything right away, you've already failed because that's just an overload of exposition. It's better to only talk about things you need to know to understand who's punching you in the face, which is kind of how Limbus Company does it. And a lot of other, not even just games here, or gacha games, but like books, novels, movies, TV shows, anime, manga, comics do constantly. It's like, hey, here's what you need to know to understand the context of why this is important. Not, it's biting you in the face, here's how not to die. Personal opinion, of course, but...
You got all that. And if you still think that's confusing, I challenge you to do the same with your favorite gacha game and still make it
I like insert game here. I give people money and they gave me waifu. There's other things going on I ignore. I'm not saying I'm a smart man. I have very simple needs. Gacha games are not one of them, but I still like them.
Comprehensive. What Limbus does is make all the keywords commonly used ones, so you can intuit their meaning and form a proper mental connection between the word and the position in the setting. The physical world makes use of bird imagery and letters. The human system works on numbers and colors. Not foolproof, but you get what I mean. The worst it gets is with Lobotomy Corporation, with things like enkephalin and kagito, various other SCP-style jargon, but that's isolated over there and doesn't much affect Limbus. Units also don't need to be shilled for the same reason there isn't character irrelevance. Units you pull for will be tied to the main cast through their...
I'm assuming that's spoilers, yeah. Also, Zero, easy lore for a Kingdom Hearts Yu-Gi-Oh! Kirby fan. To be fair, lore for Kingdom Hearts is very broken, so that's kind of a cop-out, but not wrong, though.
ID. See what I mean about keywords? Meaning there'll never be a character that seems to only be in the story so that the company can make you pay for them. Rather, the character from the story just so happens to be one you can pay for. Bloated dialogue.
Wait, unless you're what? Unless you're a certain farmer who PM refuses to make an ID for. What? Oh, it's probably spoilers if I ask.
Bloated dialogue? Well, it depends on your definition. If we're talking...
Honestly, no. All the dialogue, even if it doesn't look immediately relevant, it either shows the character, shows something important to the character's history, shows something important to a plot development, or is the plot development, or a joke. And honestly, the jokes are few and far between, so they stand out quite a bit. So there's very little absurd bloat in a lot of PM games so far. Now, I'm only on Kanto 4. I haven't even finished. I'm about halfway through. I've also been told Kanto 4 was heavily trimmed down, so it's a lot less than it was before, and maybe it was bloated beforehand. But at least right now, it seems very much... You're getting an idea of the character. There's things that could have been cut out, but they're not horrible. Where there's other character games where I'm thinking you of Genshin, where it's like, okay, we need to talk to this farmer about farming, who doesn't talk about farming. And I don't care because there's no farming mechanics and he'll never come up again and nothing about this area is important. And I don't care. I just need to get through it because they're bloating the game so that we have time to get to the next thing. It's like length is more important than... Sorry. I started to think about Star Rail and then just some of the dialogue in Emphorius, and I just feel pain now, and I hate this. I hate this. I hate this so much.
About Kanto 4, and I'll get into this in my next section where I talk about why I think this game probably isn't as big as it deserves. Is the dialogue bloated? No. It flows like a conversation. Characters stay true to their development or current temperament.
I'd also point out that just having those more background pictures with very curated views does a lot to help show the scene and move you through it in a way so it feels like you're breaking it up.
Character interactions are through the wazoo, but there is quite a lot of it. Is it needed? I'd say so, yeah, but I know many a person who'd rather it wasn't so verbose or lengthy at times. For example, Kanto 8 is probably the longest Kanto release so far.
350, 480, 5, 106, 6, 90, 7, 110. Kanto 8 up to part 2, 104. So, wait, only up to part 2. How many parts are in Kanto 8? God damn. I was being told, according to Kieran Crin, Kingdom Hearts is just kids Bleach on the Disney IP. I would disagree, if only because I think Bleach still has a much more streamlined universe, including the filler.
Surpassing that of Kanto 4 easily, yet I don't feel as though it's as long, you know? Especially when you're doing that dungeon in the middle. That whole section was absolutely amazing. It felt like the end of the Kanto itself, despite us only being halfway through.
Here and
I believe Limbus Company does gacha the right way.
Also, I'm being told it has 3 parts. 3 parts total or 3 parts right now? I don't know, and I'm kind of terrified to ask.
Yes, it's a gacha to make money. Yes, it's a little predatory, but at its heart...
Actually, I wouldn't even say it's a little predatory at all. It's really not. Because if you're a new player, anything you get will be good. If you're rolling, you're going to get something good. Honestly, the one time I'd actually recommend paying money is probably just to grab a single good new character. And you can more or less use that to farm up anything after that. It really isn't predatory. If anything, it's going back to the old pass model of pay for a season, and a season is not just a month, it's months, like a significant proportion of the year, it seems. I was told the previous season was like 5 to 6 months. For $15, that's not bad. If you pay an average of $1 an hour for entertainment, you're getting a good deal on that. Actually, it might even be in the pennies an hour at that point.
It's a video game. It's an experience. It's a story. And that comes before the attempts Project Moon makes to rake in the dollars. You can say whatever you want about companies being all inherently evil, but at the very least, when one is authentic and honest, it breeds a kind of respect almost equivalent to loyalty. Because that's what it feels as though Project Moon, the indie video game company, wants, not your wallet. And nothing is more authentic than going live as the CEO of your company with your VTuber model, playing your own roguelike mode, and feeding your most hated unit to the man-eating Christmas goblins because you regret making him so strong.
Oh, I've heard about that. See, here's the thing. People always say, yeah, he keeps trying to kill off Ring Sung, and I don't really know what he means because the guy seems fine. But then apparently it's like whenever he plays, he actually makes a point to actually have that guy die. There's an entire new archetype of sacrificing characters. I'm wondering if it literally was created because he got pissed off at his own creation and just asked people to design them that way instead. That would be stupid. I can't say I know if it's wrong or not.
All my praise out of the way, I think it's about time I talk about the game's shortcomings, at least when it comes to general popularity and widespread appeal. While I'm very much aware that PM is much more than Limbus Company, it's their most profitable investment, so I'm going to keep the scope limited to that game, if you'll forgive me. I'll keep it simple. Limbus Company doesn't turn heads, for the same reason that Library of Arena didn't turn heads. Despite...
Yep, it's the style. Honestly, this part right here, Rodion from Crime and Punishment versus Rodia and Limbus Company. There's a bit of a difference. Just a small one. I like the literary aspect. I can see why that would turn a lot of people off.
It being low-key inspired by...
Oh, Martin, you mentioned the stupid mobile keyboard. Oh, no, you mentioned actually in your comment, you just like how you keep paying for the game to play it. Yeah, that's not a bad option. But honestly, at a certain point, you can kind of make it through with a lot of characters. Like, I know some of my strongest teams are, well, my first ones because I got lucky, but they'll probably be fine for quite a while, if not most of the content I'm at. I can play for quite a few months before that's a problem. I say months because I'm taking forever to get through it.
Famous pieces of literature. Let's be real, nobody gives an absolute flying fuck about Wuthering Heights, Moby Dick, Crime and Punishment, Damien. What? This is just gay erotica. Oh, wait.
I mean, he's not wrong.
That's the Wattpad version. Apparently the real one's not so far off.
Yeah.
Corp was SCP-inspired, tapping into the immense online presence of the SCP Foundation's community, whether it be the die-hard fans and cult following, or the general knowers, as it were. Limbus Company doesn't have that privilege. Well, unless you count on your fingers the members of your Nan's book club. Further expanding on that, the general aesthetic of the game isn't one you'd typically call attractive. Perhaps to a certain audience, you know, but it's not like I'd call Darkest Dungeon, Fear and Hunger, and Wizardry attractive. In contrast to saturated, colorful worlds of other games filled to the brim with glitter, lights, and rainbows, the only set of colors you'll see in Limbus Company or whatever a person's guts look like as they splatter all over your screen, much like...
Yeah, the amount of times people have had absolutely brutal disfigurements shown in extreme detail, it's more than any, so that's more than most games. Yeah, although to be completely fair, it's really not bad. Martin, how much did I spend in this game? Okay, I've bought 2 passes, so that's about $30. $70 starting pass, there's $100. And I think I bought like one of the packs to upgrade because, shit, why not? So probably about $120 total. Over the course of, I think I started playing in March. 5 months? 4 months? Yeah. $30 a month. That's actually not bad at all. That's the equivalent of 2 coffees. I was going to say 2 coffees, and I realized that number, while it's still an exaggeration, is not as much. I'm not going to think about this because that's depressing.
The setting, the aesthetic is drab and depressing. Grays, whites, and black overpower much of the scenery, and where it doesn't, sterile whites and...
I have no idea what I'm looking at, and it kind of looks like a brain in a jar, but the brain is still attached to the rest of the body. What is that?
Grays, whites, and black over...
Interesting art style for the characters. That guy shows a lot of chest. I almost wish they would change outfits.
Power much of the scenery, and where it doesn't, sterile whites and Airier.
Alfonso? That is a lot of green. I'm assuming K-Corp? Yeah, there's a K in the background. They really do highlight everyone's hair in that, don't they? Well, Zandira, you mentioned Darkest and Fungner does have a great community. I've heard Darkest Dungeon's amazing. It looks way too hardcore for me. Also, if a character I like died, I'd be like, well, I'm good. Later. Not really a fan of that.
Like the nests contribute to the powerful dystopian nature of a divided populace united only in the ways of making one another suffer. And if we're talking about how things look, I can pivot over to the gacha game equivalent of jingling keys in front of your face. Fan service. Limbus?
No, Limbus has it. Limbus has a lot of it. It's cool. Rhodium.
It has practically zero. In the sexual...
I don't... Why? Why is it a horse costume? I thought it would be a crab, if anything.
Sense, at least. There's actually a lot of fan service. As in, if you're a fan of the studio's works, you'll like a lot of the plot lines brought up in the game, but...
I mean, also, Rhodian, a lot of her designs for a certain blood fiend.
Limbus Company isn't exactly the type of video game you'd call Guna fuel.
Wait, what did that say over there?
Company isn't exactly the type of video game you'd call Guna.
I refuse to edit that term in, boss. Okay.
Fuel. I hate that word. Fuck you, Game Grumps. Season 5, perhaps...
Wait, they actually are the ones who started that? Oh god, I thought Gooner was actually a thing that started somewhere else. I didn't realize Game Grumps actually were the ones to begin that. My wife is a massive Game Grumps fan. I heard when they talked about that. I started using it because I was listening to them do that. I didn't realize they're actually the ones who started or popularized it. Oh god.
Give us the more risque IDs in the series in Princess Roger and Kurokoma Ishmael. By risque, I mean to
be completely fair, these were some of the characters I started on. So, yeah. Also, her ability to just say, that maxed out mirror dungeon bleed damage, ×4, immediately die, is very nice.
Got a cleavage out, and even then you can count the number of IDs that...
Yeah, they're actually very nice, and I have no idea which one for Greg or Heathcliff this is. No, wait, that's Heathcliff? Yeah, that's Heathcliff. I thought it was Gregor for a second. Weird. I know it's one of the games, but I don't know which one.
Show even that on your one hand. The others probably bit. Despite having adult themes, Project Moon doesn't really divulge in anything sexually explicit, or even really utilize sex appeal in any way. The main method of dress for all denizens of the city is some form of suit after all. That's not a bad thing, not really, but when you consider the genre in which Limbus Company has planted its feet in, you can get...
I mean, I'm going to admit, I'm not complaining about that art design either. It's nice.
An idea of why it's kind of negative in some way. Guna fuel makes our hamster ball turn, and in the absence of it, less people flock inward to keep it rolling.
Although, to be completely fair, her stuff was so much on that end. YouTube took down the official videos of her release. Yeah.
The idea of sexy equals bad because popular is used. Well, there's no sexy here. You want to come in and try this out? No? Yeah, that's what I thought. Sex sells. Limbus, arguably, doesn't. Without it, less people are drawn in unless they have prior knowledge of the universe or game. And even when the odd straggler finds their way in, the sheer walls of text you must endeavor do have a habit of making them turn right back.
I mean, I will fully admit, you don't need to read anything to make it through the early story with new characters. So it is getting progressively easier for idiots like me. I was going to make a joke, then I realized I'm completely accurate about that. So, yeah. Oh, that was Kurokuma Heathcliff. Oh, that makes sense. Cool. Yeah. Although I will say the one thing I will disagree with him, he's saying sex sells and that it's in-game only. While that does have an effect, I think a lot more of it is, does the community around it decide to make that kind of fan art? Because when you have a game that no one plays, but they have an audience that is very artistically adept at taking it a certain way that is not YouTube appropriate to talk about, it will make that entire franchise much more relevant. I'm talking about you, Toho. Or Toho. I have no idea how to actually say it. Because some of the arts, they're just chibis, man. There's nothing there. But there's a lot of fan art spread around of it that do not look like that.
Around. When your average gacha game might look like this can be a little overwhelming. Boxes of text flying around faster than a crackhead on a fix, coin...
I mean, I will also admit sometimes when... No, this... Actually, the crackhead on a fixed part is probably one of the biggest advantages to it. It's just overwhelming art everywhere. It's like, ooh, shiny! Especially when they slow down to look at some of the really cool moments. I do appreciate that. I'm going to disagree with him. This is actually probably one of the most marketable aspects to it because it's a bunch of flashing lights to people with no attention span.
Ding-a-ling-linging in Wild Hunt Heathcliff cackling like he knows what your search history looks like. Are we sure we're not playing Lobotomy Cobra? I'm sure. What are these things on the bottom? Why are there so many arrows flying around? What do all these statuses mean? God, reading? In my story-driven gacha game? Blah. Project Moon has never made that game super intuitive, let's say.
Honestly, they kind of did, though, considering a lot of stuff is as long as you have a general team that will work together, and you didn't pick anyone with very specific demands in how they work, you can just auto most of the things successfully unless you need to pay attention. You know, it's actually really awesome. So when you can do that, it's really cool. But yeah, I'm going to disagree with him on this. I think a lot of it is very simple. It just, you don't know that it's very simple right off the bat.
I've always had problems with things being more complicated than they make it out to be, putting emphasis on the wrong things, or outright not explaining particular mechanics. Could you believe I didn't know how to offset guards until halfway through Kanto 4? The answer is yes.
I mean, I had learned how to offset guards, then I realized I am so overpowered early on, I don't need to remember that. It will eventually bite me in the ass, and I'm looking forward to that day because I like it when I actually need to pay attention. If I need to pay attention, but also I don't, well, I don't, that is kind of cancel each other out there, so what I said just doesn't make sense. But if I don't need to pay attention, I'm going to auto it and move through the things I do care about.
Yes, you probably could if you know what the tutorial is like, because they make it seem more like Candy Crush than anything else. Seriously, resonance is only important for like 2 teens in the entire game. Speaking truthfully, the game is about as hard as it looks, but not as difficult as you think. By that, I mean you just have to read passives, kits, bosses, maybe a bit of mental maths for Clash Power if you're feeling up to it, or just watch these videos by SGU. But if we're at that point, then yes.
So many of those views are me. So many. Kind of surprised he never made an expert level one yet.
There probably is a reason why the game is considered a little overwhelming to new players. I will say, people overblow the difficulty of this game to an elitist level at times, but a basic understanding of how clashing and speed works is all it takes to clear the contents of the story. Speaking of the story, let's touch on that. It's long. Not as long as, say, Arknights. I think that story is well surpassed.
No. See, when people say bloat, Arknights is the bloat. Every damn person there at every level is writing a novel about their laconic ways on the life, how horrible their life is, either how they hate it or they're pushing through it. No one, with very few exceptions, just talks normally in that game. I love the world building. But to get to it, you have to get through some of the most impenetrable, overwritten dialogue. And I've been told a lot of that is because the translation is overly literal from Chinese to English, and that is apparently a massive problem. Also, considering what he put up right here, I just realized I did actually start playing when Near Light came out, so I have no... Actually, I didn't start playing on Near Light. I started playing when the game came out, but I came back when Near Light came out and had since dropped it again. I only played for the roguelike mode at a certain point. I realized I'd just probably go play a roguelike game at that point. So I did. It was fun. But yeah, no. Arknights is very much dialogue bloat. You can cut out the vast majority of what they say and get what's happening. They don't have nearly the tight writing that a lot of other things do, because every character sounds the same. They're all poets who believe that they're being paid by the individual letter.
That's the length of the fucking Bible. Hell, I wouldn't even call this story lengthy in general, but it may feel that way because it's not 3D. It doesn't have animations, you aren't going around talking to NPCs.
There is no way they could ever get this game approved, animated, some of the things they talk about. Like, even some of the things they put in actual images, I'm surprised they get away with. The stylization is carrying a lot of weight in Limbus Company. Oh, God, yeah. And Zero de Nova, a lot of text. Good for an afternoon. If you want to read one character, yeah. I will... Yeah, Dematis, you read for fun. Arknights is too wordy. I agree. In general, though, I still like the story with Arknights. I just think it's overworded. And if someone just went through with a comb and cut out a lot of the fluff, it would be a lot tighter and probably still very good. It's just too much. They put too much in there, and a lot of the ideas repeat sometimes.
You are playing a visual novel with combat nodes in the place of choices. What gets you through that is the interest hopefully bred through the concept of the universe and a connection to the characters and the will to see their stories and development. It does suffer a little from the gacha game curse of only getting good halfway in, but it hardly takes any time.
The bad cantos are 1 to 2 hours long, so it isn't a slog. I've been told the bad cantos are the ones I played initially, and I didn't mind them. Yeah, Rodian's prologue, it doesn't feel like its own canto, is weak. But it was relatively funny, and I didn't mind it that bad at all. And Quantum Fang in the chat just going, live action Limbus Company when? Oh God, no, man. That would be a horror movie. Actually, for that very reason, it probably would do better that way. It would actually probably do better as a live action movie because it would be over the top horrible. If they do it in like the not Breaking Bad, but like 700 style, where everything is over the top levels of CGI on top of everything, so when you do something horrible, it looks stylized. Yeah, it would work. You can't make it look realistic though. That would be way beyond possibility.
Relatively. Canto 1 suffers from being the first Canto and so needs to establish character dynamics, villains, stakes, etc. Canto 2 suffers because the main focus character doesn't really resolve anything by the end of it, and Canto...
It's not a Canto, man. It's literally just a prologue.
3 is where the game really hits its stride and finds...
I believe that. I believe that part.
Its formula. The sinner must wholly confront their past, face their trauma, and realize themselves by the end of it. If you're...
Also, that image... Don't go back because YouTube won't appreciate it. There's a lot of things, the more you look at it, they're doing a lot on shading to hide that they drew all the details in. The guy's melting. It's visible. It's not hidden, but they put it in shade so you don't notice it right away. Yeah.
Project Moon fan, you know that this is a recipe for success. Canto 4 is long, wordy, but emotional.
Yeah, spoilers. Also, Ori, you mentioned, I'm going to spoil this for everyone. Thank you very much, too. Because the Casual Geographic Dolphin video is probably enough trauma for one day, I'll recommend something lighter. You watched Ancient Apocalypse so you don't have to by Minuteman. I have no idea what that is. Or what it's referencing. Now I'm curious.
Canto 5 is hate-filled, aggressive, but hopeful. Canto 6 is sad, dreary, but resolute. Canto 7 is cynical, crushing, but uplifting. And Canto 8...
What?
But
The
resolute
actual...
7.
What is wrong with that horse? The more I look at it, the more horrible that is. How come the most fucked up thing I've seen in Limbus Company so far is a smiling horse? Why? Why?
Is cynical, crushing, but uplifting, and Cancel 8 so far is just as amazing as its predecessors. Dare I say, maybe even the best delivered despite its length. But for a casual audience, what most are looking for isn't an amazing piece of narrative writing. They're more concerned about hype moments and aura. Think Solo...
I'm going to be completely honest. I'm going to say something that I don't think people are going to agree with right now. Solo Leveling was mid. Had great animation, had great audio work, and music was perfect. The story was fine. It's just kind of there. You know what's going to happen. And honestly, the most important fight, that was the most interesting fight, happened halfway through the second season. It only corrected it because in the second season, we had to remember, oh yeah, we have to show that the character is still a human being and not just a automaton you're supposed to hate. Where the first season was like, oh, he's becoming a soulless monster. Neat. And it beat Frieren. Yeah, because the Anime Crunchy Awards... Sorry, not the Crunchy Awards. The completely unbiased Anime of the Year was definitely not hosted by the same company hosting it. Yeah.
Leveling beating out Frieren or Apothecary Diaries. Hell, even the new series of Bleach. More relevant, think Wuthering Waves, whose appreciation is admittedly skewed by just how cool...
Don't pretend like your ass wasn't getting kicked 2 minutes ago. I mean, I actually did fine against this boss. I saw a lot of people who are somehow better than me at building their characters were immediately stuck down to the one life, forced to survive the cutscene health. I actually didn't find it that hard. And then you got to the... I mean, I was getting my ass kicked, but that's because I suck, is what I thought. Then I saw a lot of other people do worse, and it was kind of weird. Oh, and oh shit, we actually made the goal, because apparently you guys have a lot to say today. One day I have you Black Souls one time. I'm not sure what that is, and now I'm terrified it wasn't a misspeak on your part, Zero. Goal from Croc, or Croc Maniac. Goal, if you don't already, recommend Bizarre Lore of Team Fortress 2 and Luna. React to Guild Guy Automatica, AU, Concept, Darian Code. That one I'm going to put off with just because there's other Guild Guy things I'm going to watch. It's in the list. I'll get around to it eventually. I do want to watch them. I just need to actually do it. Huh. Oh. I was getting a spam call. I was wondering what that little beeping was.
A majority of people don't want this, they want this. And while that's a-okay...
I mean, I do, yeah. I much prefer that. I'm very much in that camp. But also because usually if I get a visual novel, I'd rather just read a novel. I'm kind of in a weird camp with that one. And King Drake, you mentioned... What do you say? I should check out the Curious Archive? Oh, God, yeah. I've checked them out with the Pharaoh chicken. Yeah, apparently they then took the chicken and made it into a cyborg. Yeah. Oh, Valerian, I should mention, it's not that I dislike Solo Leveling. I perfectly enjoyed it. It's a good anime. I just think Frieren was better. Not like it's a bad choice. I'm not saying it wasn't... It was a perfectly good choice to nominate. But also considering the people who were making the decisions for who wins was also the company that made the anime. It's like, you know why it won.
Okay, and fine diddly do, it is a little disheartening. And perhaps greater than all those points is this one. Project Moon has no representation in the West.
That's changing. But it's changing in the way that is the least immediate, but probably the most impactful. Word of mouth. Which means it's much more genuine when people actually recommend it.
Now, let me correct myself. There is representation in the West, just not conventional representation. I'll get to it. Have you ever seen a Limbus Company ad? A Limbus Company sponsor? Maybe once, if you're lucky, like a whisper in the wind.
No, I didn't even know they had ads at all.
Marketing, apparently, isn't Project Moon's strong suit. That much is clear if you ask a casual gacha player if they know what Limbus company is. I'd give it like a 30-70 shot. This isn't a fair comparison, but I'm gonna make it anyway. I've seen Zhu Yuan's ass enough times on my desktop to make me fear what Google thinks of me as a person.
Faust has perfect opinions. I mean, they're not wrong.
I've seen Faust. Actually, I haven't, because they don't do ads. Not only that, but
I've seen memes like that come up plenty of times. It actually comes up pretty frequently. Oddly enough, the one I usually see, though, is not the Faust one. It's more Otis just being an absolute brown-noser.
Only in Korean, no English dub. People don't want to play it because it's in Korean and...
I mean, if they didn't have the English translation, I would be in that camp. But it's... This is going to be a weird thing to say. Because it's more of a reading format, it's fine not to have the dialogue, and just getting the emotion from what I can understand is fine. Because the VAs get across exactly the tone you need to put context on what you're reading. I would love if it was in English. Yeah, especially because they know exactly how to get the best work out of their VAs. And if they happen to get Mr. Krabs' English VA to do Gregor again, oh, that would be an absolute coup, and it would be amazing. There's no way they would, but I would love it.
Only in Korean. I know this because it's the reason I originally didn't play the game. And while it's not an issue for me anymore, I love the Korean voice acting actually. Anime adjacents will have a harder time integrating themselves, which, let's be real, are the main audience for gacha games. Project Moon doesn't push for this game for whatever reason. I wholeheartedly believe Limbus can be the gacha game. Like how Genshin or HSR is the biggest. Like how ZZZ is the goonest. It's hard.
Really? ZZZ, out of all three of the games, is probably the closest to gooning, yeah. But really, Nikkei's way more on that side than ZZZ is.
Hardly Predatory offers probably the most interesting setting in all of gachas, period, and feels unique in its themes and storytelling. However, with the lack of pushing, it remains under the Wuthering Waves. Literally, a hidden gem on the cusp of being revealed. But this lack of clear representation has found a crack in the wall, a glitch in the system. One could say a hidden pipeline.
I just realized these are all Roblox, and I hate everything about this on principle.
Roblox to Limbus company pipeline is a very real thing. Let's talk about it. Roblox is a...
You ever just hear something and the very mention of it makes you feel dirty? I can't stand Roblox. Every time I hear about it, it's because someone did something stupid or someone did something illegal. And not just like, oh God, he said something stupid. Why is he not in jail? More like, oh no, oh God, he needs to be in jail for doing this to this person. Mudahar, Some Average Gamers, did a very big series about it, and oh my freaking God, man! And Zero de Nova, in Germany, we love to dub everything. Nice. I think I become a member. And King Dragon, Airier the Chicken Mummy was Thought Emporiums? I thought it was. Wait, am I getting things mixed up again? No, that never happens.
Where players create their own games for other players to enjoy. Marketed more so towards kids, it's a platform powered by the players, sort of like Steam or Itch.io with a more personal twist and many more limitations. And Groom, allow me to emphasize for effect.
Yeah,
this is a platform where users are entirely responsible for other users' experiences. Despite Roblox being primarily for children, there exists many a community of older Roblox players who've cultivated a fair few games for a more developed audience. Roleplay groups with your favorite anime, show, or interest. Closed community games that require you to know a guy who knows a guy so you get to be a grunt in another person's story. Complex games.
Were they literally playing off their own version of Bleach? Okay.
Complete with high-octane parry-based fighting, complex deck building, and permadeath mechanics, with whole server-wide PvP wars that destroy your bandwidth to top it all off.
Not aware of this. This is actually the first time I've heard. Granted, most of what I've heard has just been the, oh God, this person did insert illegal action here. So this is a nice change of pace.
This to say, Project Moon, a studio for a more mature audience, somehow wormed its way into these communities through the odd fan or two. It's
It basically sounds almost like they took, what was that? Not Team Fortress 2, but Gary's mod, and made it easier for people to use as actual gameplay.
Started maybe with a few tongue-in-cheek references in a game. It grew to adding weapons from Lobotomy Corporation or Library of Arena in another. Then another. Maybe in a game less serious for a younger audience. Then another. Maybe a whole character or two this time. Multiple iterations of the same thing repeated, like IDs from Mirror World spreading further and further, at times being added simply because these things were rad rather than...
And they've even put in the entire character, like the card aspects from the games into an actual 3D version of Roblox. You know, I was making jokes about how there's no way they could do a 3D version. Now I'm wondering, at what point does someone in Project Moon see this and go, I think we found the next version. Okay.
Because they liked the source material. At this point, one might ask, why not make a game? Well, they did. Limbus Game, a battleground where you can fight others as your favorite ID. Archived, an MMO-style RPG taking place in the city where you can challenge the library, join an association, make an office, realize your own ego, much like the characters from the games it was based on. People thought, oh, this is cool, I wonder where it's from. And before you knew it, Project Moon had somehow grown to be represented in Roblox, of all places.
I have so many questions right now. I know about how franchises, when they get big enough, actually have a huge fan base making their own content independent of the official IP that become almost as important as the IP itself. Look at Warhammer and what Games Workshop is trying to kill for some dumb reason. Or anything to do with most gacha games that are successful. It's because they've built an entire fan base around other properties to build around it, to make their own fan community that is creative and not just people arguing on Twitter. I was never expecting to hear about this happening naturally through Roblox, so I don't... Why here? Because anyone who could manage to get through Project Moon stuff in Limbus Company probably has enough programming knowledge that they would just randomly want to do it. But this is probably an easy enough platform where it feels like it's easy to do. You know, when you say it out loud, it actually makes a lot more sense.
Sakura Stand, Illusions, Item Asylum, Forsaken, a Dead by Daylight style game and one of the most popular on the platform with over 150 concurrents, has a skin based on a character from Limbus using a remix of Millie's track. And if the designs weren't enough to make people think it was cool, then the music sure as hell did.
Scream if you love Millie.
It cannot be understated how much influence this kind of representation has had on Limbus Company's popularity. And I know this because I found out about Limbus again from Roblox. Yes, I'm a grown man.
I'm judging him slightly on this one, but not too much. Also, King Dragon, Curious Archive mostly do existential crisis video and nature documentary based fictional world like Monster Hunter. In that case, I'm very much confusing Curious Archive with someone completely different then. That sounds a lot less depressing than what I saw for the mummifying a chicken part.
And who still plays Roblox. Get over it. We all do if you grew up at a certain age. It was
I'm not
cool.
that age.
And if you paid attention to what I was saying before, you'll know that is enough. Such representation, however, is a double-edged sword. Obviously, kids ruin everything. Fandoms, communities, games, marriages. They're dumb.
Nah. There is not a single kid who should play Limbus Company. There are so many things there. Like, for an adult, cool. For a child, oh god, no. I'm doing this only if their parents pissed me off and I want them to have to explain it. For any of my in-laws watching. Well, it wouldn't really be the in-laws at that point. It'd be more like my brothers and sisters-in-law or my brothers and sisters. Apparently, their kids watch. So if you're watching right now, and your mom asks why you were recommended to play this game, I had nothing to do with it, Julian.
Easily influenced, unfunny, and most of all, act like they know things they don't. But it's the hand the community was dealt. It didn't help that the Project Moon universe caters to the lowest common denominator, aka power scales with the very existence of fixes. But, as I said earlier, the keywords are easy to understand and the concepts are grim. That is, interesting at a base level. The trickle-down effect of an intended audience combined with a bit of reproduction and a very lucky inclusion in...
Oh shit, he's basically talking about exactly how I got into Warhammer. Because I did this through FanWorks through If the Emperor Had a Text-to-Speech Device, which was a more lighthearted version of the actual source material. Huh.
Subsequent boom of a game on a children's platform has allowed Limbus Company to be contracted with a very severe case of BAFPOMS, baby's first problematic piece of media syndrome. There, we'll workshop it.
I would call it slap to the face syndrome.
Thus, the gatekeeping began, the community became more obnoxious, which, let's be real, you all were already, and a bad rep started to be guarded. We were, after all, refugees from Roblox. Not the greatest tag, I'll say. At least the memes got better, and yet...
That was a bird. What? I don't know.
Despite this double-edged sword, I could never really condemn my brethren because, in the end, we were what the community needed. We were... the glue. No, we were the...
You know what? I'm not going to go back and look at whatever that clip just was, because there's a line of, I don't want to know this, and that is very much past on anything I just saw.
Presentation. Word of mouth. Younger fans, like it or not, are more zealous. They make for good cult material, perhaps to a detriment at times, but if...
Everything he just said is true well more than just in games. Yeah.
Project Moon wasn't going to go the full 9 yards for their game, these ones sure will. They'll badger, they'll annoy, they'll backseat, they'll nitpick, they'll wrongly quote, they'll shill this game, and I'm pretty sure half of them have never even played it. Should they even know about the game in the first place? Well... you know, but now we're gonna stop them. And that's sort of what I want to get at. Attention is only good for the community. I talked about sponsors. Well, Project Moon actually did sponsor someone. Shirakami Fubuki from HoloLive. Yes, that one.
Okay, I'm going to be completely honest. I don't know almost anything about HoloLive. I barely know HoloLive EN just because there are memes. If it's JP, I have no idea whatsoever. So I'm going to have this go completely over my head here.
In terms of representation, popular VTubers like Himemi Airier and to a lesser extent Tenma Miami are stalwart bastions for the Project Moon games.
I don't know either of them either. Am I getting old? Oh wait, the answer is yes, but that's completely unrelated.
Going the facade of a pixelated visage, Lakari, notorious Blue Archive fan, played through all of Lobotomy Corporation, God rest his soul, and Library of Arena to upwards of 2,000 concurrent.
He played all... I'm sorry, how many hours?
All of Lobotomy Corporation, God rest his soul, and Library of Arena to
Oh, wow.
upwards of 2,000 concurrent. Genazad played all the way through to Kanto 7 as of writing this video to nearly the same amount. And hate him or absolutely despise him, Tectone, the bold, angry Genshin demon from the year 2021, punished all Limbus Company fans with his presence as he rose from hell to face us. Thank God he only played until Kanto 4. And I'll say it again.
I don't want to see what, in case that was a spoiler, I don't want to read what came next. Because I'm only on Kanto 4. I need to get further, damn it.
And this is only good for the growth of the community, to get the global recognition I feel like we all think it deserves.
I did mention earlier, though, that just the natural progression of people representing the game by playing it and building that kind of word of mouth. Hey, this is good because I'm playing it. Check it out. If you have a diverse audience, that's really a lot going on, man. And Luca Rodriguez mentioned Tectone pretty much said he's not coming back. I thought he said he did, because I know I've seen clips of the guy go back and pull on, I think it was Faust's new banner as well.
I recall the second anniversary, when I first revised this script, and I remember feeling disappointed. There was no massive marketing push, there was no big banner to bring people in, just two pretty cool IDs and a billboard in Akihabara. It's clear that Kim Ji-hoon cares a lot about the people who like his games and his universe, from their humble start to the multiple times where he feels as though he's let down his community.
I just like to point out, if that's the fail, like, did they only have $3,000 to start building this game? God damn, man. That's actually more impressive than anything.
Stemming from as early as the translator scam incident from LobCorp, he seemed...
Wait, Wait, what did that say?
Let down his community. Stemming from...
The company used a machine translator like Google Translator, took thousands of dollars as a translation fee. That is horrible. I mean, at the point now, this is 8 years... Okay, this video came out 5 days ago, and he probably got this more recently. So, 8 years ago, a Google Translate is not good. Now, honestly, it's decent. It's fine. you need a person to double check everything. And frankly, it's not worth it if you have someone who can just speak the languages fluently. But if you have someone who's at least half decent, but not good, it's better than nothing. But 8 years ago, it was unusable, man.
From as early as the translator scam incident from Lobcall, he seems to want to take...
Oh, and that's back when it was only that was Lobotomy Corporation too, not Library. So that was out
from as early...
So out of the $3,000 they had to start that, and they took thousands. Oh God, and it was probably after that, but still.
As the translator scam incident from Lobcall, he
I'm
seems
sorry, that
to
still
want to
blows
take
my mind,
things
man.
slow and easy now. He cares so much that it even negatively affects Limbus company, backtracking on a much-needed nerf to an ID that the testing team sloppily allowed to deal 400 single-target true damage minimum per turn.
Because you would max out on what it would do, and yeah, it's still really powerful, but it's not 400 plus damage, man.
Unprecedented. Even when the compensation was full refunds to anyone who spent on the banner, 1.5 IDs of your choosing, a guaranteed 3-star 10-pull ticket.
Also, I did use these, and it's the biggest reason I got a few of the characters, because I immediately blew them on the next banner. Did not get the banner character, but got like 7 other random 3 zeros, or the 3 stars. Yeah, I hate calling them stars because they're zeros. Yeah.
And you got to keep the unit. He still backtracked when people outraged. He apologized profusely, despite these units in this game costing infinitely less comparative to games like Genshin or Wuwa, because I guess even the game that still puts the story first will be treated as a gacha at the end of the day. People saw it as him going back on his word to the community with regard to the Ring Sang nerfs, another OP unit from the start of the game, and he prioritized that bond with his fans.
Wait, Ring Sang was in the start of the game? Really? Sorry, I was under the impression he came out like maybe 6 months ago. It's like he's not new, but he's not that old. But he's been in the start of the game. That makes a lot more sense why he'd be overpowered, because he feels like he's at the power level of the characters now. It is not the start of the game anymore. Oh, wow. And it looks like my Chaz debating Tectone. Yeah. And his fan base vibes are rancid. I can't say for his fan base. I've watched his videos. I don't always agree with what he says, but I don't always disagree either. A lot of his consumer right takes I completely agree with.
Over the health of the game itself, Mouse truly thrust into the light that Project Moon's biggest strength and their biggest curse
is the art. Oh, come on. You can't be telling me otherwise. This is a freaking amazing bit of art. If I had an entire print of this, or like someone painted this up for me, I would frame it. I have no idea where I could fit it, but I would love to.
Their fans. Even so, we as fans still want to see this game grow and succeed. If Project Moon wants to take it slow with marketing and publicity and everything else, well, the people will take it into their own hands, on accident.
I wonder, what? Yeah, I think we have an idea of who her favorite is.
Or otherwise, even if it garners a certain label at this point. And it is growing. It's about twice as popular as when I first drafted this script in early January. But one does have to wonder what...
January? Oh, wow, he took a lot of time to work on this.
...that means for the future of the game. Much like the message of their games, it is now up to the people. The seeds have been sown, and it is up to us to help them bloom.
Hello, definitely not Dante. Or whoever the hell you are. If this turns out to be the player character, I'm going to laugh my ass off.
Man, that is a cheesy way to win this video. Bye-bye!
Wait, what did she say at the bottom over here? I'm not sure if it's shown, but... And that's why I don't let you write the scripts. Oh, God.
Video. Bye-bye!
Thanks.
Intro.
Oops. That was amazing, man, and it definitely does feed into the I need to play more Limbus Company. And I just played it a few nights ago, but it's been a few... No, that was Monday night. It's Thursday. More than a few nights ago. I need to do this. And people are like, that's Ian. Yeah, he's supposed to be dead. Maybe. I don't actually know exactly what happened at the end of Limbus Company. I just assume he died because everything kind of went to shit. If he's still alive, that would take some utter bullshit to get through, man. And it's not like the city has a lot of other bullshit reasons to do that. Also, yeah, I do know who Ian is. Oddly enough, because I did watch videos explaining the lore of Limbus Company and Project Moon in general, which is how I found out about the game, and it also got me to play in the first place. So I knew about Ian as one of the first things I did to get me into this game. It's weird. And yes, it's a joke. I've heard a lot of people theorizing about that. I have no idea if it's true, and honestly, I'm not looking into it in case there are spoilers in the discussions, because that makes it a lot harder. What I'm basically saying, though, is this was so freaking good, man, and it makes me want to play more, because I need to do this game, damn it. If there's a game stream tomorrow and I'm just playing Limbus Company, I'm not going to make any requests, like, we're just doing it. I don't know. I don't think we will. I wanted to do more streaming tomorrow. Do more of this stuff, get more videos in, have fun. But there's a bit of me going, but you could also play Canto 4 and have enough time to actually finish it. And this is a video that makes me want to do that. Yeah. Basically what I'm saying is, if you haven't already, there's a link below to the original video. Hit it up. This was awesome. Go subscribe to this guy. Leave a like. Actually, I'll just go do that right now. Let a like. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.